good afternoon. Today I'm going to be doing one of the first types of gun reviews on my channel. It's probably not going to be the best, but bear with me. I want to talk about urban and rural scouting. So if you were stuck in a situation where you might need to scout an area and actually try to find some sort of source of water or food or shelter, and you're in a rural, urban-ish area, a small town, countryside, something that you need to escape the heat and you need water desperately, like where I am right now. It is hot as hell. A few things I definitely want to talk about is packing light and making sure that you don't outline yourself in a dryish area. And that's one really important thing. So let's go on to our first subject. Going on to our first subject is camouflage. When thinking about camouflage, you want to think about the area that you're in. Now, I picked a pretty common camouflage for people who, buy camo is fleck tarn. Now, originally fleck tarn wasn't developed for, the Texas region. It was really developed for the dark forests in Germany, the Black Forest, in case of a Soviet invasion. But it actually works really well in multiple different areas. And one area I want to talk about is an arid area, but with green trees. Works just as fine as somewhere that is lush and green if you don't outline yourself. Now, when I say outline, I'm talking about standing in front of a brown area where you can clearly see a human outline. You don't want to do that. The best thing you want to do is go to an area where there's plenty of shade and greenery. Something like back here. I don't know if you can see me. I'm assuming so since you watched me, but in case you didn't, I was sitting right there behind that tree. Now, was I very visible? Maybe, maybe not. I'll have to go back and see. Quick side note, you don't want to step or sit on one of these because they really hurt. Going on to how to pack for something that is a light scout and it shouldn't take extremely long. Something that's short and survivable. Something you don't want to go out and spend, 6 days on, okay? You're going to pack really light for this. Now, this is what I chose. I chose a small assault bag with 3 extra magazines and a couple of boxes of ammunition. Some gloves, hatchet, and a multi-tool. Multi-tools are very important, especially if you're shooting and if you have to shoot and move. It's a very important tool to keep your gun tools. Maintain other pieces of equipment that you might need are, well, I guess let's start with the bag. So I packed in my bag a hatchet, gloves, multi-tool, an MRE, and some water. And of course 3 mags and some extra ammo. MRE is pretty important. I would suggest getting 2 MREs, but currently I only have 1 in my bag, and even then it's not enough for a true scouting mission. But that's what I would use for a scenario like that, and a lot of water in a hot and humid arid climate like this. Now, moving on to some other pieces of equipment, I brought an extra set of camouflage that I can change into if I need to. Like, let's say that my coyote green is not working enough. That would probably want me to change into something more green and uniform to break out that human figure, because you don't want to stand out and make a person think that there's a human in an area. That's not what you want. Scrim, that's a pretty good tool to use and have on hand at all times. You can really kind of turn it into a makeshift ghillie suit. It has plenty of holes that you can stick extra weeds and leaves through. It's pretty useful for making a small little bivouac and some sort of shade if you need it. And same with the other thing, the portable shelter. Now this is a half tent, but you can use it to cover your whole body if you need to. If it becomes too hot and you need shade quick, it's a great tool to have. I always carry one on me when hiking, rucking, or any sort of outdoor survival or just any sort of event that's outdoors. I would always carry one because you never know when you're going to need shade in a non-shaded area, especially in a non-shaded area. It's one of your best friends. Preferably, you would want to get out to the nearest shaded tree or somewhere that you can get like a dip in the ground, somewhere that can give you some sort of cover from the sun. I know there's not a lot of cover when it's midday or whatnot, but moving on, eye pro and eyewear. I use Pilas. Pilas are more on the pricey end, but they do a great job of what they're meant to do. They make colors pop out when your normal eyes won't necessarily catch them. It makes everything more vibrant looking and the things you don't need to notice more dull. So movement will pop out more. Anything that has some sort of color will pop out more. And some greens, like this type of shade of green right here, will definitely pop out a little bit more. It's a great tool to have, and you can always switch your lenses to see what matches the time of day that you're in. Great tool. I highly recommend using Pilas because they also act as a form of sunshades. Another one is your helmet. Now you don't need to wear a bump helmet. That's not something you need. If anything, it's probably best that you don't wear it on some sort of rucking or traveling. It's better to keep it inside your bag for when you need it than on your head at all times. Because reality is your helmet, in this case my bump helmet, is not going to save my life when I'm getting shot at. It will save my life if I fall down and hit my head on a rock though, if I trip and fall. That's what it's for. Now, another thing I want to mention is if any of you out there are using ballistic helmets, anything that's rated for ballistic, yes, it will save your life if you are shot from an angle or a side, but if you are hit directly on with a high caliber rifle like 308, it's not going to save your life. There's going to be so much deformation. It might be able to stop the bullet, but there's going to be so much deformation inside the helmet that you will likely die either way. Same with, I would have to say probably 7.62. So any sort of 7.62 rifle, like 7.62 by 39 shot out of this AK, I don't know if I would trust a ballistic helmet. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. Tell me in the comments, that's fine. If any of you have stories about ballistic helmets. Another one, an optional decision, is a gas mask. You don't need a gas mask, but in case you do, maybe you need to carry one. That's up to you. It's not necessary, but in case you need it, you never know. It depends on the situation you're in. Maybe you're in a true urban area and the government's using some sort of chemical gas that you need to escape from anyways, at least your eyes and your lungs. That's a good tool to use. Now, moving on to my plate carrier, I'm using an Agilite carrier, and it's hot, so I can't remember the actual number. I'll have to put it in the comments or the description. But the plate carrier I'm using has level 3A plus from RMR Armor, and they are a great company to purchase body armor from. It's light and it's comfortable and maneuverable. I highly recommend them. Same with Agilite. It's very breathable and it's very movable. It's also has a lot of pockets in it. It's pretty nice. A little nifty guy. I usually would carry this on the side right here, my medical pouch. Always have one. Tourniquets are good to have, and some sort of, what are these called? I need to get them out real quick. These guys are a really important way. They're not as important as a tourniquet. Tourniquet is what I would carry at number one, and you never want to waste your money on a cheap tourniquet. You do not want to risk your life with one. Buy an expensive tourniquet from a named company They will save your lives. They're a lot of money, but make it happen. You need one. Don't buy a cheap one. These guys are also a great tool to use in case of you are stabbed or you're shot. There's something that you can also use to stop bleeding. They are a plastic coated sticker that is a very large one, and you will wrap it over the wound of whatever you are. Is stepped on a stick and it went through your foot, it would probably help you a lot. This is something I really want to point out though, is that you cannot rely on these, and they are already disinfectant, but you need to disinfect the wound as well. So in case you're in an area that you can't disinfect the wound, you need to make sure that you get to an area that you can. Now, let's move on to firearms. A lot of people want to carry heavy, large rifles that will pack a punch, and they will also probably give away your position really quickly. Something I do want to point out is if you're just trying to go and scout an area, maybe you don't need something so heavy. Good rifles would be AR-15, some sort of light AK platform. I'm carrying the AK-103. It's lighter, it shoots really smooth, it's not very heavy. But another option is a 22. So many people look over 22, but it's such a universal round. It's easily suppressed, can come in subsonic, and if you don't want to kill somebody and you're good at evading people, maybe that's something you should carry, is a 22. I have a 22 AR platform here, and it is a really good tool for hunting game, or maybe even deer. If you're close enough, you could probably get a headshot on one. I see people up here do it all the time, and they'll show videos of it. It's pretty impressive. Now, would I recommend shooting a deer with 22? Absolutely not. But it is something you can do if you're desperate. And it's not nothing. It will kill somebody if you shoot them in the right spot. So please just keep that in mind. 22s are not a bad option. Now for handguns, right here we have a Springfield Armory little 9mm. Pretty nifty little guy. This was provided by my wonderful cameraman. I don't know if he wants to say hi and show his face. He doesn't have to.
Hello, people.
But I don't have my handgun with me, so I had to borrow his. But small handgun is a great option for any sort of defensive, or you never want to use a handgun for offensive unless it's considered an offensive handgun, but even then I would be really skeptical. But a great defensive tool in case you run out of ammo on one of your rifles, or if it jams and you're in a pinch. And well, actually, I don't know if you would want to switch to it if you jam. Might be easier to just unjam your rifle than try to scrabble out and get your handgun out. But if you train enough, it can be a really good tool to have on your kit. And another thing I want to talk about is keeping your guns clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness, they say. I would never want to go onto the field with a dirty rifle. Always clean it. Make sure there's nothing that can jam your rifle or cause a malfunction or failure. Something, especially if you have a 22, that's an easy problem that can happen. Something a little bit larger, like an AK, I know everyone says they're the most reliable gun in the world, but believe it or not, they do jam. Every gun jams. It can happen. Bad ammo feed, some sort of magazine malfunction, or even just the gun itself got dirty and it caused the light. It didn't go all the way in, bullet didn't go all the way in. It happens. It does happen. Now, let's move away from the kit and let's talk about practice. When moving around in an urban or rural environment, stay in the shadows and don't make yourself seen. I know I talked about it at the beginning of the video, but I really want to make that clear. Don't outline yourself. It's a huge thing that people do if you're airsofting or you're doing this, you know, as a police officer. I don't have any qualifications to talk about it if you're a police officer, because I'm not a police officer or any sort of law enforcement. I'm just a civilian that likes to do research on this stuff. But it is something that you should hear. You don't want to outline yourself. It's bad news. You don't want to get shot at. Now let's talk about how you don't outline yourself. I already talked about shadows. But another good option is hiding behind shrubbery or something that matches what you're wearing. Khakis, green shirts, camo, doesn't matter what it is, it can be used as camouflage if you use it in the right way. Probably a deer over there or something. But you do want to make sure you don't make yourself visible. Now let's go ahead and do this in practice now. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the camera, put some of my gear on, and I'm gonna walk out there and I'm gonna do 3 positions. I'm gonna do standing up, sitting down, and laying down. And I wanna see if you, the viewer, can catch me at any of these moments. I'm sure you can, especially if you pause the video. It's not impossible, but I want you to do it within 4 seconds or 5 seconds. Realistically, if you're out in the open, somebody's in the shade, and they're not visible, they might get the first shot off, and that's never what you want. Now let's go ahead and put all this on, and let's go on out, okay? Before I do go walk out there, I do want to talk about one last piece of kit that isn't as controversial as you might think, but it is on the civilian side. A lot of people think you need boots. I have noticed that I see a lot of people online talk about boots. Now, you want boots, you want boots, you want boots. You don't necessarily need boots. That's not something you need. Tennis shoes, runners, anything that is quiet and not super vibrantly visible should be fine. It's comfortable, you can run in it quickly, and it's quiet. Boots are loud, clunky, and make a lot of noise. There are benefits to boots. They have better ankle support, and they also have a better foot. I don't know, they feel better on the feet sometimes, but it depends on the boot. After a while, maybe not so much. Military shops do sell boot/sneaker hybrids that are very comfortable, and I do recommend those. I don't know the names of them, but probably do a little bit of research and find those out yourself. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and walk out there, and I'm gonna do 2 different types. I'm gonna do one in the open and one hidden. And I'm gonna show you how visible you can be if you're not in the open. Well, I don't know how well you could see me out there, but if you could see me well,